Welcome in. It is a Friday evening, a cloudy one as well, here in the western suburb of Waukee, Iowa. My name's Emery Songer, and we're going to have a doubleheader, hopefully, of softball for you today, as the Waukee Warriors, ranked 5th in the state in Class 5A, are going to be taking on the Roosevelt Rough Riders in a matchup of two teams of Central Iowa. Not in the same exact division of the Central Iowa Metro League, but they are both CIML teams, and bringing it to you here on CISN. Waukee finishing their warm-ups. We're going to start roughly about on time. We're going to make sure that we'll try to get as much in as possible. We do have rain in the forecast in about a half hour at the very least. It looks like some of these clouds that are coming in from the west could pack some rain. We had a lot of rain this morning. Hasn't really rained since here in western Iowa. But one of the things that got to try to keep in mind for the most part is that with softball, you have this all-dirt infield. There's a very good chance, at the very least, that you even have just some substantial rain without interruption, like it looks like, at least on the radar from this point forward. You have yourself a really wet field that will affect the quality of play for both of these teams. So we're going to have to see how much rain is going to be enough rain. We know that two umpires, they have talked to the coaches about this. Both schools have talked about it. Of course, with the condensed season, there's more urgency than ever to try to get as many of these games in as possible. Have doubleheaders scheduled Monday, Wednesday, Friday at the very least. Roosevelt comes in 0-4 on the season, having dropped all 4 of their games, 2 against Ankeny Centennial and 2 at Valley. And then they play Waukee. They don't really have a favorable matchup. Those are some of the top teams in all of the state in Class 5A until you get down to Des Moines North next Monday. And they play a single game against North, a single game at Norwalk, another good team on Tuesday, and then a doubleheader at Des Moines Hoover next week, as well as a home doubleheader against Mason City next Friday, a week from tonight. For Waukee, they took out that Mason City team in a couple of big wins on Monday, and then they faced Marshalltown in a couple of big wins on the road on Wednesday. So 4-0, looking to try to keep it rolling. Urbandale will pose a difficult challenge on Monday. That's the next time they'll be in action after tonight's game. But then, of course, Johnston, Ankeny, Dowling Catholic all on the docket here, as the suburban schools typically find ways to beat up each other. And that's one of the things that, if you're a fan of high school softball, those are the matchups that you love to see. And Roosevelt absolutely knows that they are the underdog coming into this doubleheader, and they're going to try to do everything they can to pull off at least one upset today, assuming Mother Nature lets us get 2 games in. Quick lineups for you, as they'll be announced in front of you, but I'll go ahead and just give them to you right now. Is senior shortstop Summer Williams will lead it off for the visiting Rough Riders. Senior left fielder Zoe Lawson will bat second, followed by the center fielder, a sophomore Riley Jones. In the cleanup spot, the freshman right fielder Jillian Williams. Sophomore pitcher Faith Sheets ends up in the 5 spot. The designated player is Genesis Dotson. She's a junior. She'll bat for the catcher Michaela Hill, who is a freshman. It's a pretty young team Roosevelt is sending out here. Lower third of the order features freshman first baseman Audrey Humphrey, sophomore third baseman Ivy Lawson, and then the 8th grader at second base, Ada Clark. Head coach is Aaron Mussett for the Rough Riders, as mentioned, entering at 0-4 this season. For the Waukee Warriors, 4-0, 5th ranked in the state. At the top of their order will be junior shortstop Heidi Wheeler. Wheeler is a junior entering this season. Sophomore second baseman is Reagan Bartholomew. Number 3 spot will be the senior catcher Natalie Willett. In the cleanup spot will be junior first baseman Michaela Hannum. The junior left fielder is Macy Weiss. The designated player bats 6th. It's junior Claire Fossil. She'll be batting for the 9 spot. That's Lily Chifus, a junior. Lower third, it's junior third baseman Ashley Smith. The junior pitcher will be Ellie Bates for Waukee. And then a sophomore in center field is Ella Parker for head coach Carrie Eby here at Waukee High School. Waukee wearing those white uniforms, trimmed in purple. The Rough Riders wearing their traditional navy blue jerseys, trimmed in white. They got the black masks going on all the way up and down the roster. Wind blowing a little bit out toward left center field, so you pop one up in the air in that direction, it very well could just continue to fly. That could lead to some big scores for players that are of the power variety. Of course, we'll get you all the numbers as the players come to bat here today.
Head coach of the Warriors, Carrie Eby, assisted by Andy Briggs, Emily Jameson, and Taylor Luther. Umpires for tonight's game, behind the plate, Tony Nelson. On the bases, Joe Havenhill.
Let's go ahead and take a listen into our national anthem.
For the playing of our national anthem.
Time to play some ball here at Waukee High School as home plate umpire Tony Nelson. The base umpire is Joe Havenhill. First pitch, as I mentioned, is going to be right around on time. 5 o'clock is the time right now. We'll keep you updated on what this weather system that's coming in is going to do. And we'll try to see how many innings we can play without interruption. Of course, forecasters are forecasting the state of Iowa. Not until you actually see something happen that you really are forced to do something, because the forecast and the weather and the systems, they change very, very frequently. Taking a peek at what the situation is, at least for right now, for the radar. According to the AccuWeather app, 21 minutes away from rain beginning, and it would be significant rain, at least what it looks like, starting at about 6 o'clock and for the foreseeable future. So we'll have to, again, just play it by ear, see what happens. But for the time being, it's beautiful out here, about 75 degrees, about 5 to 10 mile an hour winds blowing toward left center field as Waukee takes the field defensively. We're ready to go here as Roosevelt will send up Summer Williams for the first pitch.
15, Summer Williams.
And Summer Williams takes a strike. 5:01 technically the first pitch. And it's 1-0. The pitcher for Waukee is Ellie Bates. Bates, a junior, two games pitched so far this season. Only needed to work 8 innings with run rules in effect, as this is fouled out of play right side, 0-2. No runs of the earned variety or unearned variety have scored. She's allowed just 1 hit in 8 innings of work. Has walked 2, struck out 11 for a whip of .38. And opponent sitting just .037 against her. So she's off to a hot start this season, as this is fouled straight back, and Williams will stay alive. For Summer Williams at the plate, 3 for 8 so far this season, batting .375. It's been a tough challenge. 8 runs in 4 games so far, averaging just about 2 runs per game. But as we mentioned, the offense for Roosevelt could not quite hang with Centennial and Valley in the first 4 games. This ball up and away. It's 1-2. They've scored 8 runs. Opponents have scored a combined 40 runs, averaging 10 runs per game. In fact, I think actually a little bit more, trying to just do some mental math here, but at least 10 runs in each game at the very least for our opponents of Roosevelt through the first 4 games this season. Make that 50 runs in 4 games for Roosevelt opponents through the first 4 games. So just over 12 runs a game. Is this ball up high? So Bates got off to a quick start, went up 0-2 in the count, but give credit to Summer Williams, able to keep herself in the count. 3-2, and the full count pitch to the leadoff batter for the Rough Riders. And the delivery, ground ball through the hole on the right side, and that'll be a base hit. So Williams works the count full, able to slap a single through the right side, and that's a great start for Roosevelt. Zoe Lawson, another senior at left field, going to be coming to the plate. Zoe, 1 for 7 in the early portion of the season. The one was a 3-run double, however. So 3 of the 8 runs have come via the bat of Zoe Lawson, but also a slap hitter and also bunts with frequency. Takes the ball inside after showing bunt, 1-0. And you can see the infield for Waukee really squeezing on the corners. Lawson did have 3 sacrifice bunts in the first 4 games. So certainly something she's comfortable doing. Well, very late. Attempts to show bunt. Clips the outside part of the plate for Bates, and that makes it a 1-1 count. Runner at first is Summer Williams. In the first 4 games, hardly any action on the base paths in terms of steals and attempted steals for Roosevelt, as there's a swing and a miss, and the bunt likely off now for Lawson as it's 1-2. Just 1 stolen base attempt so far through 4 games, and that came from the 8th grader Ada Clark, who bats 9th in this game. She is 0 for 1, so she attempted a steal and was thrown out in doing so. The 1-1, or the 1-2 rather, strike 3. Strike 3 looking for the first out of the inning, and Bates really working that outside corner. Gets the strikeout, and that'll bring up the sophomore center fielder, Riley Jones. Jones, 3 for 10, including a double, 2 RBIs. He has struck out a couple of times. Runner on first and 1 out here, top of the first inning, game 1 of a scheduled doubleheader here at Waukee High School. And that just misses outside. We saw that edge get called a strike a couple of times. This one just a little bit too far outside, according to Tony Nelson, our home plate umpire for game 1. Those Waukee flags, the American flag as well, out there in right center field, blowing toward the left center field fence, basically where the scoreboard sits. As it's 2-0 here to Jones. A reasonable person would think you're able to pop this thing in the air. It will get a little bit of help. It's not a swift wind. It's not a real whistler, as this one swung on and missed. It's 2-1. But that wind should be enough that if a ball is close, it could get a little extra help as it, especially if it's got that backspin on it, when you hit down on the ball. And there's strike 2 on the outside corner. Bates really working the outside part of the plate. Quite a bit of crowd here today. Social distancing in effect, of course, as this one outside, quick throw behind the runner, nothing doing, and the count goes full. It's 3-2 to Riley Jones. We'll get to the defense for Waukee after this pitch and the payoff. Popped up. This should be playable. And it's going to be in fair territory. Third baseman Ashley Smith makes the catch for the second out. Macy Weiss is in left for Waukee. Ella Parker in center with Lily Chifus in right. Ashley Smith at third. You just saw her make that catch. With Heidi Wheeler at short. Reagan Bartholomew at second. Michaela Hannum at first base with Natalie Wellett behind the plate, the battery mate for Ellie Bates. Bates gets a strike call on the inside corner. 0-1. This is freshman Jillian Williams. Right fielder. She is 2 for 9 so far in the early going this season, and that includes a double. As this one high gets away, that'll allow Williams to take second on what will be a wild pitch in my book, and it's 1-1. So base hit here from Jillian Williams could score Summer Williams from second. Big spot for a freshman to be batting Class 5A softball, as that's inside. 2-1. A freshman playing Class 5A softball might not be super uncommon, but to have a freshman batting in the cleanup spot, you do not see that too frequently. Roosevelt is a very young team, as there's a wave and a miss, and it's 2-2. In baseball, especially at the Class 4A level, the equivalent of Class 5A in softball, you really don't see all that many underclassmen getting regular at-bats, as there's a swing and a miss. We'll have to leave that conversation there. We'll take a break. Through a happening of play, it is Roosevelt nothing, and the Waukee Warriors coming to bat right after this. You're watching high school softball on CISN.
a recent spring storm, a freak tornado formed and moved through the north side of Schottenkirk Chevy Waukee. Depending on damage, most new vehicles with minor cosmetic imperfections. Affected new Chevys will be sold for thousands below market value, with a limited number of storm-damaged vehicles available. Time is of the essence to take advantage of this opportunity. You get the rebates and discounts. Now take thousands more off storm-damaged vehicles. Limited time savings. Schottenkirk Chevy Waukee. WaukeeChevy.com.
Why do I look for the seal? It's about trust. Whether I'm buying a car, hiring a contractor, finding a tax preparer, or an honest mechanic, the Better Business Bureau seal means this business meets high standards. When I see the seal, I know I'll get what I pay for. No more taking chances and no more worries. And I feel good about supporting local businesses. My life is so much easier knowing I can always trust BBB accredited businesses. It pays to look for the seal. See for yourself at bbb.org/Iowa.
One hit and a runner left on for Roosevelt in their half of the first. We'll head to the bottom of the first, and it'll be the fifth-ranked Waukee Warriors coming to the plate for the first time in this scheduled doubleheader. Head coach Carrie Eby will send Heidi Wheeler, Reagan Bartholomew, and Natalie Wellett to the plate. As we head to break, I did mention, in softball, it is a little bit more common to see a lot of younger players than it is, at least from my perspective, in Class 4A's baseball. And that's fine. When you have younger players, it's good to get them in the mix. But so often you see underclassmen that really can hit, and Roosevelt having no problem tossing in Jillian Williams, a freshman, to bat and a huge RBI slot in the cleanup spot in the order. So we'll see how big a season that freshman has, and we'll see her plenty the rest of today. But for right now, it'll be left-handed batting Heidi Wheeler to get things going for the 4-0 Waukee Warriors. The Waukee shortstop digs in, and the first pitch from Faith Sheet is in there for a strike. Sheets on the season, a sophomore, has pitched in a couple of games. ERAs for all of Roosevelt's pitching staff are a little bit bloated here, and a small sample size against the talent that they've seen so far this season in Ankeny Centennial and West Des Moines Valley. Waukee is certainly in that mix as well as one of the top teams in Class 5A, just 5 years ago having won their most recent of 3 state championships. 3 years ago, they were the runner-up. Is this a slapped into center field? That's going to be a base hit, and that'll actually split the left center field gap. Wheeler will take second, throw on the third, and it's not going to be in time. So that ball just kind of tailed away from Riley Jones in center field and scored it all the way to the fence. And that allowed Wheeler to turn on the afterburners, and what at least appeared that it could have been a single off the bat. It ends up being a triple, so Waukee in good shape here in the bottom of the first for Reagan Bartholomew. Bartholomew had a very nice season as a sophomore on the basketball team, one of the top Class 5A basketball teams in Central Iowa. Sophomore batting .500 so far this season, and she pops this one up into right center field. Jones ranging, makes the catch, tagging on her way home is Wheeler. Not a bad throw by Jones, but it's not going to be in time. Credit Bartholomew with a sacrifice fly to center, and very quickly it is 1-0 in favor of Waukee.
Third, the catcher, number 9, Natalie Wellett.
So with the bases empty now and 1 out, and 1 run on the scoreboard, senior catcher Natalie Wellett comes to the plate. Wellett, 6 for 13, a homer, 5 knocked in. She's walked twice, has yet to strike out. Those are pretty impressive numbers for your senior number 3 hitter. There's a strike from Sheets. Sheets does have 1 strikeout, has walked 6. Opponent's hitting .312 against her in the first 4 2/3 innings of work that she has put in so far this season. The 0-1 on the way. That was a changeup, little out in front that time was Wellett, and she falls behind the count 0-2. Continuing to monitor the cloud cover on the west as it approaches. We'll see if we can continue to try to play some ball here. As that pitch up and away, 1-2. We'll keep referencing the AccuWeather app. And it looks like AccuWeather currently saying rain starting in around 17 minutes from now. So it's gotten pushed back a little bit from where it was 10, 15 minutes ago. And we'll see if we can keep having that push away until we're done here. As this is poked out into center, and it will drop, and it bounces off the leg of Jones. And that will allow Wellett to take second base. So Riley Jones having to be very busy here in the first inning defensively. First 3 balls have been hit in her direction. In my book, that'll be a single into right field. We'll go E8 on the ball ricocheting away, allowing Willett to take second. And Michaela Hannum, the cleanup hitter, will dig in. The junior stares at Sheets, who fires the first offering right down the pipe. 0-1. Hannum, 7-14, the batting average, 5 for 7. A double, 3 RBIs. And that one drops in the dirt. 1-1. Our base umpire, Joe Havenhill. Our home plate umpire, Tony Nelson. Those are going to be the guys, along with, I'm sure, the coaches from both sides going to work together. We're going to get a little conversation here between Michaela Hill, the catcher, and Faith Sheets. You can see all of the Rough Riders carrying out those masks that they wore during pregame. We are hearing various the ways that you can try to reduce risk for COVID-19, and the fact we're playing softball, we're not going to take that for granted, so kudos to these girls for staying vigilant with those masks. This one and their first strike, 1-2. That sort of diligence is what allows us to play this sport, and why Governor Kim Reynolds, the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union, the Iowa High School Athletic Association on the baseball side of things, coming up with protocols of ways that we can avoid any outbreaks. As this ball hammered out into left center field, that'll drop. Zoe Lawson will get it back in, but not before a run will score, and it'll be an RBI double for Michaela Hannum, and the first 4 batters make good contact.
Back forth, the left fielder, number 8, Macy Weiss.
Quickly, it is 2-0. That'll bring up Macy Weiss, the junior left fielder, batting in the 5 spot. Weiss, an incredible 9 for 12 so far this season. 3 singles, 5 doubles, 8 knocked in. That's a team high as well. We mentioned the offense for Roosevelt struggled in their first 4 games this week as Weiss fouls this back. It was the exact opposite for the Warriors, the 5th-ranked team in the state, at least this week. 12-3 and 10-0 the wins over Mason City on Monday. 11-0 and 11-4 the wins over Marshalltown on Wednesday. As that ball hit into center over the head of reaching Riley Jones. That's going to be 2 bases. And now taking a look at third base is Weiss. She'll slide just ahead of the tag, as Summer Williams on the relay throw just could not get it there in time. And that'll be a triple and an RBI for Macy Weiss.
Number 14, Claire Fussell.
You can see how hot these bats are for Waukee here in the early going this season. Claire Fussell, a junior, serving as his designated player. She's going to poke this out into center field, and that will drop for a base hit. So another single hit out to center. Just good bat work by Fussell. And she'll have an RBI as Weiss scores from third. Still just the one out. And Ashley Smith comes to the plate. Smith is 4 for 11. Couple of doubles, 3 runs driven in. She was also hit by a pitch. Fussell, designated player, hitting for Lily Chifus, who's playing right field for the Warriors here today. That ball misses, 1-0. Defense behind Faith Sheets. Zoe Lawson is out in left field. Riley Jones in center, and Jillian Williams is in right. Ivy Lawson, the third baseman. Summer Williams at short. Ada Clark, the 8th grader, at second, with Audrey Humphrey at first base. Michaela Hill is the catcher for the right-hander Faith Sheets. That pitch in there for a strike for Sheets, and it is 1-1. 1 out, runner at first, and 4 runs across so far here in the bottom of the first for Waukee. The 1-1. That just misses low, and it's 2-1. Baseball field just out beyond right field, so nice little complex. Very easy to get to. Is this ball in the dirt? And 3-1 now the count here to Ashley Smith with Ellie Bates, the pitcher, in the on-deck circle. Head coach Carrie Eby's got to like the way the bats have been staying in the zone, making strong contact. Every ball that has been put in play has been into the outfield. In the air. That just misses. Close pitch. But Tony Nelson says a bit outside, and that's a walk. First walk issued by Sheets.
The pitcher, number 20.
Fussell moves on to second. And now Ellie Bates will bat, looking to help herself out, but not before a meeting of the minds out in the pitching circle. Now this baseball diamond and softball with bleachers, social distancing is certainly encouraged and pretty well enforced. They got pieces of tape that says stay 6 feet apart from people outside of your party. Be sure to skip rows in the stands. But many people have just decided to bring their own chairs and are sitting along the outfield lines, taking in a softball or baseball game. First pitch fouled straight back by Ellie Bates, 0-1. Bates, so far this season, has yet to incur an at-bat. This is the first time she's been in the batting order. She has, of course, pitched a couple of times, but has been hit for in both of those occasions. Today, a little bit different. The 0-1 on the way. Runners on first and second. This one bounces in. Good stop by Michaela Hill behind the dish, and it's 1-1. Sheets is trying to power through here. The thing with softball is there is no pitch count limit. As this one is out into center field, it's going to be fielded by Jones. They're going to hold the runner as the throw comes home. It was a good throw by Riley Jones, and wise for Carrie Eby to hold the runner, Fussell at third base. So station to station, Bates will have a courtesy runner for.
Courtesy runner for base, number 5, Kiana Carnes.
Kiana Carnes will be the runner at first base, just a freshman. If you're unfamiliar with the courtesy runner rules, a pitcher or catcher can be run for as many times as possible or as needed with unlimited re-entries as long as they are serving in that position. Allows them to get ready. As it looks like Faith Sheets might be done here in the first. As going to get in a change. Aaron Mussett comes out with the bases loaded. And we will see what adjustment is made. And we'll let you know after this. We'll go ahead and take a break, and when we come back, bases loaded for Waukee in the first, right here on the Central Iowa Sports Network.
We might not always know what the day will bring, but some things are certain. The sun will rise, and your lights will go on. That's because at MidAmerican Energy, we're obsessively, relentlessly committed to providing you energy when and where you need it, to connecting with you and keeping our communities safe and strong. Because the most important thing we put our energy into is you. We're obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Here's to everyone who believes in competition and good sportsmanship, who knows it's not about the trophies or the medals, but rather the lessons learned. For those who understand, it's not whether you win or lose, just that you give your best. So go ahead, lace them up, take the field, have fun, and play. For the experience, for the memories, for the love of the game. Shields.
New pitcher is Grace Ulrich. Ulrich comes in for Faith Sheets. Sheets will move over to third base. Ivy Lawson goes from third to second. Ada Clark, the eighth grader, will exit. Grace Ulrich, the sophomore, pitched 2 innings in relief earlier this week. Opponents hitting .615 against her, but just needed a different look. Waukee's bats were really on to what Faith Sheets was doing through 8 batters, and it's one of those things that if you are a Roosevelt Rough Rider came here trying to pull off a couple upsets against the 5th-ranked team, and being down 4 runs in the first inning is one thing, but with the bases still loaded, opportunity potentially for even more than that from this Waukee offense. Going to try to do the best that you can to try to limit the damage. And Ella Parker, the sophomore center fielder, will be the first up to try to do that in the favor of Waukee and try to make something happen and get some more runs on the scoreboard. As the first pitch in there for a strike, 0-1. Sheets just goes a third of an inning. Allows 6 hits. We'll still have to pause on how many runs, as she is responsible for all 3 of the runners out there right now. As it's 1-1 to Ella Parker, the sophomore. 4 for 6 so far this season, 3 runs driven in. Another great opportunity to do more of that. As she right back up the middle, that'll be a base hit. 1 is in. A second run is being held at third. Another good throw by Jones out in center. Actually, Zoe Lawson is now playing center field. Looks like they have flip-flopped Zoe Lawson. They put Jones, looks like, now in right, and Jillian Williams, who started the game in right, is now in left. So just a little carousel, but nonetheless, Parker an RBI single makes it 5-0. As that pitch misses to Heidi Wheeler, as we are back to the top here in the first. A lot of these hits are to center, which you just tell the timing is right there, as Wheeler slaps this one foul. Pitch count not of any concern, obviously. Try to keep it for you as the games move on. If a pitcher's been out there a while, it's a good illustration of how hard they've had to work. As this 1-1 is in the dirt. 2-1. Wheeler tripled in the left center field first time up and would score. Waukee a 5-0 lead right now. Ulrich delivers. This ball popped, foul ground, long run for Sheets. That's just not going to be able to be playable. It's good hustle by Sheets and Summer Williams at shortstop, but unable to get there and reel it in to make a play. A couple of sophomores being asked to get the 5th best team in 5A out here, as Lawson will make a catch in center. Tagging, heading home. Throw is close, but not in time. Another good throw by Zoe Lawson. All other runners will advance on the throw home. Heidi Wheeler gets credit for a sacrifice fly to center. So 2 away, and Reagan Bartholomew up. She'd had a sacrifice fly, scoring Wheeler back in the first part of this first inning. So Ulrich 1 out away from getting out of it, trying to limit the damage to just 6 runs. And this is a ground ball to short. Williams fields it, quick throw over to first, and then unable to squeeze it is the first baseman, Audrey Humphrey. It was a good effort by Williams at shortstop. And the throw would have been in time, but Humphrey just could not squeeze it. So in my book, that's E3. A run, Kiana Carnes running for Ellie Bates, scores from third. Ella Parker and taking Ella Parker over to third. Bartholomew will take second base. You typically see that with no throw in softball when runners are on the corners. It's 1-0 to Natalie Willett. And that just misses. A lot of off speed, just trying to place it and keep the Waukee bats a little off kilter. Ulrich delivers. And that one bounces in. Good stop behind the plate by Michaela Hill. And 3-0 the count with Michaela Hannum on deck. There is first base open. Already 7-0 in favor of Waukee. This delivery, and that's just off the outside corner as well. So Ulrich trying to paint the outside, not give Well at anything, and she can hit hard. But instead goes into the book as a walk, and we're going to get a courtesy runner now.
courtesy runner
Bryn Herron.
for the Warriors. Number 2, Bryn Herron.
So Bryn Herron will run for Willett. That's a courtesy runner for the catcher. Remember, pitchers and catchers can be courtesy run for unlimited times as long as they are serving in those positions. So the freshman at first base. And the first pitch of ball to Michaela Hannum, the cleanup hitter, who doubled off the wall in left center field. RBI, and she would score a run. The 1-0. That ball hit in the air. Shallow left field, long run, and that ball is fair and leaks out into foul territory. Herron on her way home. Here comes the throw. It won't be in time. Taking third. Nobody's covering the bag. So it'll be a double for Michaela Hannum, and that was just placed perfectly in that Bermuda Triangle down the left field line. The shortstop, third baseman, and left fielder all had no chance to get there. I mean, you would have had to been absolutely blazing fast and positioned correctly in the perfect way. And unfortunately for Roosevelt, that just was not the case. And that ball maybe was a foot fair and then squirted into foul ground. This pitch is popped up into right field. This is Riley Jones, and she is there. She'll squeeze it, and Macy Weiss is retired on the flyout, but not before 10-run score for Waukee in the first. We'll take a break, come back with the second inning. Waukee in control here on the Central Iowa Sports Network.
Central Bank, proud to be a long-standing Iowa tradition. Founded in 1887 in Storm Lake, we've grown over the years from that one location to a bank serving Northwest and Central Iowa, employing more than 200 people in the region. Being here and being from here, it makes Central Bankers unique in the banking world. Decisions are made here. Investments of our time and resources are made here. For us, banking is still about people. Our reverence for community and hard work speaks to a proud Iowa heritage. Our passion for small business to bold new directions forward for our bank and the Iowans we serve. Thank you for your support of Central Bank. Let's keep it going. Let's plan together. Let's execute for Iowa's small business, agricultural, and individual banking customers. Central Bank is ready to make it happen. Member FDIC.
Faith Sheets will bat to lead off the top of the second inning. 10 runs on 8 hits, 1 defensive error, 1 was left on base for Waukee in the bottom of the first. That is a successful first inning, and for the 5th straight game to start the season, they will have double digits in runs scored. On the other end of that, it will be double digits runs allowed in the first 4 games for Roosevelt, who just had a gauntlet of a schedule to start this first week. Is that one outside, 2-1. You had Ankeny Centennial for a couple of games, Valley for a couple of games, and now Waukee scheduled here for a couple of games. 2-1 on the way. That's up and in to Sheets, 3-1. Sheets is a batter, 2 for 9, batting .222. According to our AccuWeather forecast, we're getting closer within 10 minutes of potential rain starting, as that's ball 4. It'll be a leadoff walk here for Sheets. Of course, a little bit of sprinkling, maybe a little bit of moisture isn't going to slow down this game. We're going to play as much as we can. As Genesis Dotson will be the batter. She's the designated player, heading for Michaela Hill, the freshman catcher. Ellie Bates delivers after the walk as Dotson shows bunt, pulls back, takes strike 1. The 0-1 on the way from Bates. Bounces in there. Good stop by Natalie Willett. And it's 1-2. Right-hander, long look in. This one bounces in as well. 2-1. Bates is a little bit short on a lot of these deliveries. Yeah, there's a big hack and a no contact here from Dotson. 2-2 the count. Just to illustrate Roosevelt's difficult first week. Their first doubleheader against Centennial. Centennial was ranked 11th, now ranked 10th this week as Dotson hits this one a ton out in the left center field. That'll one-hop the fence. Sheets is going to get to third. She's going to be waved around. The ball is going to bounce in. There will be no throw to the plate, and it'll be an RBI double for Genesis Dotson. That ball was hit a ton to left center field, and with a little more elevation, that certainly would have gotten out. We don't have dimensions to that wall, but I can tell you this is probably about as big a softball diamond you're going to see. Most of them are similar, about 200 all the way around, or 180 and the 180 to 200 mark. As a little bit of a conversation going to be had. Carrie Ely, I'll chat with her right-hander after a walk, and after drawing the walk or issuing the walk to Sheets, she allows Dotson to hit a double. But Centennial ranked 10th. Then they had to play West Des Moines Valley, who is currently ranked 6th. And now they play Waukee, who's ranked 5th. So with those three teams, 0 losses combined through the first 2 days of the season, Monday and Wednesday. There's no breaks for this Rough Rider squad as the first pitch, a strike to Audrey Humphrey. A freshman, plays first base. Just 0 for 1 at the plate. And she goes through that one, and it's quickly 0-2. Dotson is the runner at second base after her RBI double. Scored 10-1. And this one bounces in, gets away. Dotson, a good jump. Throw down to third base is not going to be in time. That's a really good read by Dotson on that ball. As soon as it was in the dirt, she was taking off for third. That'll go as a wild pitch in the book. It was a good job by Well. It made it a close play at third, but safe is Dotson, still with nobody out. And the 1-2 on the way. That's in the dirt. 2-2. Bates did have to sit over there for a while, watched her offense send 15 batters to the plate, 10 of which would score. 14 batters, my mistake. But still, that's a lot. And it's 3-2. We'll keep an eye on the wind as well. Once the rain clouds really start hovering over Waukee, that wind very well could increase, and if we're going to keep playing, that could be a factor as that pitch misses, and after being ahead 0-2, Humphrey finds a way to draw a walk. Second walk issued in the inning by Ellie Bates.
Number 10, Ivy Lawson.
So Ivy Lawson now the 8-hitter. Well, bat, she's just a sophomore. A lot of underclassmen here. A couple of seniors at the top with Summer Williams and Zoe Lawson. Dotson is a junior. Everyone else is a sophomore or younger in this order. Showing bunt, popping it up and fouling it off is Ivy Lawson, and it's 0-1. Lawson, no official at-bats in the first 4 games this season. Was used as a runner, but is in the lineup here today. So first legitimate at-bat of her varsity season. 0-2 now the count as that one placed perfectly by Bates. The delivery here. Strike 3 at the knees. And takes 3 pitches to erase Lawson for the first out of the inning. Staying at first base throughout that was Audrey Humphrey. Head coach Aaron Mussett, of course, always trying to... You've got to decide when is the right time to be aggressive on the base passes. Ada Clark, the 8th grader, will bat here. She was lifted for the pitching change, but does have 1 re-entry. I believe that is what is being used here. So Clark started the game at second base, and when the defense had to be adjusted with the new pitcher, she was brought back into the dugout, but she takes a strike here, 0-1. Clark just an 8th grader. 2 for 4 at the plate, a couple of singles. She has walked twice as well. As she swings over this one, and it's 0-2. The senior leadoff batter, Summer Williams, who's 1 for 1, is on deck. Roosevelt a chance to play a couple more here. Runners on first and third and the 1 out. We'll see if Ellie Bates can work through this little jam. Swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts. 4 in the game for Bates.
Shortstop, number 15.
And now Summer Williams will come up, and it'll be up to her to try to keep this little rally going. Waukee a 10-0 or 10-1 lead rather. They scored 10 in the bottom of the first. All right, Roosevelt bats a walk, a double, and another walk. Have put one on the board here so far in the second. As Williams, little pop-up, shallow center field, coming on and making the catch is Ella Parker, and that'll retire the side. But Roosevelt does get on the board. Genesis Dotson, an RBI double. After an inning and a half, it's 10-1 Waukee over Roosevelt here on the Central Iowa Sports Network.
In a recent spring storm, a freak tornado formed and moved through the north side of Shunkirk Chevy Waukee. Depending on damage, most new vehicles with minor cosmetic imperfections. Affected new Chevys will be sold for thousands below market value, with a limited number of storm-damaged vehicles available. Time is of the essence to take advantage of this opportunity. You get the rebates and discounts. Now take thousands more off storm-damaged vehicles. Limited time savings. Shunkirk Chevy Waukee. WaukeeChevy.com.
Why do I look for the seal? It's about trust. Whether I'm buying a car, hiring a contractor, finding a tax preparer, or an honest mechanic, the Better Business Bureau seal means this business meets high standards. When I see the seal, I know I'll get what I pay for. No more taking chances and no more worries. And I feel good about supporting local businesses. My life is so much easier knowing I can always trust BBB accredited businesses. It pays to look for the seal. See for yourself at bbb.org/Iowa.
Waukee will come back up here in the second, leading 10-1. It'll be Claire Vassell, Ashley Smith, Ellie Bates. 6, 7, 8 due up after sending 14 runners or batters to the plate.
Claire Vassell.
Vassell, an RBI single and a run scored as part of that huge rally to start the game. Line drive right at Summer Williams in 1 pitch, 1 out. Williams didn't have to move a muscle to catch that one.
Third baseman number 15, Ashley Smith.
So now the third baseman, junior Ashley Smith, drew a walk. And she'll pop this one up into shallow center field. Actually, that's carrying out to deep center, and Zoe Lawson is there. 2 pitches, 2 outs. And now Ellie Bates will try to help herself out here.
The pitcher number 20, Ellie Bates.
Bates will look at the first pitch, and she'll swing on the first pitch. This one into center, and that's caught out in center field. A 3-pitch inning for Grace Ulrich. After 10 runs scored in the bottom of the first, it takes all of 3 pitches to get through the second inning against Waukee. How about that? We'll head to the third. Waukee still a 10-1 lead in control over Roosevelt here on CISN.
We might not always know what the day will bring, but some things are certain. The sun will rise, and your lights will go on. That's because at MidAmerican Energy, we're obsessively, relentlessly committed to providing you energy when and where you need it, to connecting with you and keeping our communities safe and strong. Because the most important thing we put our energy into is you. We're obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Here's to everyone who believes in competition and good sportsmanship, who knows it's not about the trophies or the medals, but rather the lessons learned. For those who understand, it's not whether you win or lose, just that you give your best. So go ahead, lace them up, take the field, have fun, and play. For the experience, for the memories, for the love of the game. Shields.
10-1 as we head to the top of the third inning. The ever rare 3-pitch inning for Roosevelt's Grace Ulrich. A line out, a fly out, and a line out again. Waukee, of course, being very aggressive, but hit it right at the defense. And no trouble for Grace Ulrich and her defense in the bottom of the second. Now in the top of the third, 2, 3, 4 due up for the Riders. Zoe Lawson, who caught 2 of those balls, takes a ball herself here, 1-0. She went down on strikes looking in the first. That one bounces in. Bates struggled a little bit early on in the second inning. She delivers a strike here, 1-1, but was able to rebound after a couple of walks and a hard hit ball to get a couple of strikeouts and a flyout. Two and two to the senior, one of two seniors that come out here. Peyton Morris is a third senior. And Tegan Lowe also a fourth senior. This is one hopper over to third and over to first in time. Ashley Smith to Michaela Hannum as they tandem for out number one, and that'll bring up the sophomore Riley Jones. Jones started the game out in center field, had a couple of hard hit balls that just took weird hops on her, and she was unable to field it cleanly. But moved over to right field. Certainly a good bat, good young player, just a sophomore. Fouls it straight back, and it's 0-1. This one fouled off. Quickly 0-2. Jones popped up what eventually ended up fair territory about halfway between the plate and third base. Third baseman Ashley Smith caught it to make the play. This one out of play as well. Still 0-2 to Riley Jones. She's just going to low pitch, slow roller to short, throw to first in time by a step and a half. Heidi Wheeler heads up fielding there, and that'll be 2 away. A little bit of sprinkling has begun here in Waukee. We are just to the west of the high school, so just across the street. I believe they call it Warrior Road or Warrior Way. Jillian Williams, a freshman cleanup hitter, will take a ball outside, maybe a little low, 1-0. Williams struck out swinging, first time up in the first. The 1-0 on the way. And it's right there. It's 1-1. Ellie Bates was spotted. She helped too, offensively, but a 10-run lead after one inning of play as this popped up, and this will be just out of play. Umbrellas now are coming out with the little spitting of rain. This certainly would not be enough at any point to slow our game down. It would have to come down a little bit heavier. As there's a swing and a miss, strike three. Second time Williams has gone down on strikes. Fifth K in the game for Ellie Bates. We'll head to the bottom of the third. It's Waukee 10, Roosevelt 1 on the Central Iowa Sports Network.
Hi, Ron here, head coach of Westside Auto Pros. When your car's on the injured reserve, you want to get it back in the game as soon as possible. I know that. That's why you need to bring it here to Westside Auto Pros. I have a team of experts that can fix almost every automotive injury. Whether it's a fractured joint, a brake, or if your car just got its bell rung, no problem. We can even do a complete physical on your car to make sure it's game ready for the entire season. So bring your car to Westside Auto Pros and we'll get it back in the starting lineup in no time. Hey, you guys are dogging it back here. Let's move it, move it, move it.
You want to get stronger, faster, healthier. You want more. You want to be part of something bigger than yourself. A place for people of all ages, all walks of life, that provides opportunities for all to succeed. We do that. We're the why. Build more than muscle. Build a stronger community.
Bottom three.
Hitting up for the Warriors, center fielder number 4, Ella
It'll be
Parker.
Ella Parker, Heidi Wheeler, Reagan Bartholomew to start things off. First three batters due up to face Grace Ulrich, who got 3 outs on 3 pitches last inning. She will not do that here as the first pitch taken for a strike to Ella Parker, 0-1. Parker singled up the middle for a RBI, would end up scoring a run back in that 10-run first inning. This one bounces in. It's 1-1. You really don't see 3-pitch innings at all usually if the first two batters go down quickly, that third batter is told on pretty much strict orders, at least in baseball, at most levels. You got to see one or two and make them work a little bit. In softball, making them work really isn't part of the plan. You'd like to see some pitches to make yourself a little more informed about what you're seeing out there or what kind of repertoire the pitcher has, but wearing out the softball pitcher really isn't something that's of a big agenda. This popped up on the infield. Ulrich will field it herself on a 1-2 count. So one away. Heidi Wheeler comes to the plate. She is 1 for 1. Tripled to start the game off in the left center field and would score a run, and she hit a sacrifice fly for an RBI later on in that first inning. Lefty bat comes up, corners, playing pretty tight. This ball lifted out into center, ranging over, making the play into the right center field gap is Zoe Lawson. Lawson has been busy out there in center. Riley Jones started in center after a couple of balls were hit and kind of had weird hops. Didn't really have a chance to either bounced off of her or went to the wall. They made just an outfield adjustment, rotated everybody one spot. Jones now in right field. Jillian Williams went from right to left. And now Zoe Lawson in center, and that has been a fruitful move for Roosevelt. Head coach Aaron Mussett. Lawson have been real sure-handed out there in center so far since she's gotten over there. As this ball in the dirt and squirts away, but nobody on base. It's 1-1 here to Reagan Bartholomew. Bartholomew is 0 for 1. Hit a sacrifice fly and an RBI to center in the first. And then hit a ground ball to short. It was fielded nicely by Summer Williams. Made a good, strong throw, but Audrey Humphrey just could not squeeze it at first base, which allowed the inning to, at that point, to continue. As that's fouled off, it is 1-2. 2 outs, nobody on here for Waukee in their half of the third. Running rule scenarios in softball a little bit different than baseball. After 3 innings, 3 or 4 full innings, it's got to be a 15-run spread, as that's inside, 2-2. And then after 5 innings or 6 innings, if the spread is 10 or more runs, then that is your run rule. That just misses outside, and it's 3-2. You don't see it all too often in baseball. You do see it at times. It just kind of depends on the day, I suppose, and the availability of pitchers. In softball, as this is flared out into right field, Jones, long run, just can't quite get to it. It'll bounce off the fence on a hop. Quick throw back in. Bartholomew will slide into second with a 2-out double. Ball hit hard going the other way.
Catcher number 9, Natalie Wellett.
And now Natalie Wellett will bat with the runner in scoring position here in this third inning. And the run rule, obviously early in the season, especially in non-conference play, you will see it from time to time, especially with ranked opponents. As this ball popped up on the infield right side, Ivy Lawson under it, and she'll have it, and that'll retire the side. So a 2-out double for Bartholomew goes for naught. And again, Grace Ulrich turns out another good inning. We'll take another break, come back with the fourth. It's still Waukee up by 9 here on the Central Iowa Sports Network.
Central Bank, proud to be a long-standing Iowa tradition. Founded in 1887 in Storm Lake, we've grown over the years from that one location to a bank serving Northwest and Central Iowa, employing more than 200 people in the region. Being here and being from here, it makes Central Bankers unique in the banking world. Decisions are made here. Investments of our time and resources are made here. For us, banking is still about people. Our reverence for community and hard work speaks to a proud Iowa heritage. Our passion for small business to bold new directions forward for our bank and the Iowans we serve. Thank you for your support of Central Bank. Let's keep it going. Let's plan together. Let's execute for Iowa's small business, agricultural, and individual banking customers. Central Bank is ready to make it happen. Member FDIC.
They'll be face sheets, Genesis Dotson and Audrey Humphrey, the 3 batters scheduled for Roosevelt here in the top of their 4th inning. They trail at 10-1. They scored their 1 run with this 3 batters, all reaching base. Sheets walked. Dotson would hit an RBI double. And then Audrey Humphrey would also walk behind them. First pitch a strike, though, to Ellie Bates, who has really settled down since that happened. It's 0-1. This delivery bounces in. 1-1 the count. The sprinkles have definitely gotten here, as I mentioned about an inning ago, but it is very tame. That's a check swing, but Tony Nelson, the home plate umpire, says she went around, and it's 1-2. One ball, two strikes. Ellie Bates delivers to Faith Sheets, and that one will miss low. 2-2 the count. The 2-2. Makes it full, 3-2. That pitch outside. And this ball, well, that's just inside as it looped over the head of the third baseman, Ashley Smith. We saw one for Waukee that was like that. They ended up scoring a few runs. That one well placed by Sheets, and for the second straight time, she is on. And now Genesis Dotson, who absolutely smoked the ball to the wall in left center field. She'll come up with, again, a runner on first base and nobody out. We'll see if Bates has a different game plan here. Dotson certainly a powerful bat. Delivers a strike right over the inner part of the plate, 0-1. Toe in the rubber, setting and delivering. And there's a strike on the outside corner. This ball squirts away. Sheets thinks about going to second, but really doesn't have a play. When you see on a baseball field that happen where the ball kind of leaks out into shallow right field, usually there's enough space in between all the fielders where reasonably you could make it to second. But here in softball, everybody's just a little too packed together, especially when you're in the process of sliding back to your base, having to stand up and then run to second. As there's a swing and a miss, strike three, and Dotson goes down on strikes. Went up in the zone and got her to chase high. Sixth strikeout for Bates, and there's one away.
First baseman, number 5, Audrey Humphrey.
Looks like we're going to have basically light rain. It looked a lot worse earlier with the, as this is inside, 1-0. It looked a lot worse when I got here about 4 p.m. When you looked at the radar, a lot of yellows and reds. Does not look like the yellows and reds are at least there at the moment. This is fouled back 1-1. We could just end up enduring this light sprinkling for a while, in which case it'd be super surprising if this is all the worse it gets that we'd even think about stopping the game. I don't think that's on the agenda. It'd have to be much heavier than this, or lightning would have to be in the area, and it does not appear that it is on the radar either. As it is 2-1 with one out to the freshman first baseman, Audrey Humphrey. Humphrey drew a walk first time through. She slaps this one off the facing of the first base sign, just to the home plate side of that Waukee dugout. And 2-2 is now the count. Bates wants a new softball. She'll get one. One out, and Faith Sheets is aboard after her single. Wind still a little, maybe 5-mile-an-hour wind out to left center field. It's now 3-2 to Humphrey. Second straight plate appearance in which she has gotten to a full count. So good work by her, making Bates show her everything she's got. 3-2. Got her to swing and miss, however. Foul tipped into the mid of Natalie Wellett. Back-to-back Ks for Bates. And with 2 away, that'll bring up sophomore Ivy Lawson. Lawson was one of those strikeout victims first time through the order back in the second inning. Foul tip. This one straight back all the way to the screen. And 0-1 is the count. Nearing the top of the 6 o'clock hour. Game almost an hour old. Top of the fourth inning. It is 10-1 in favor of Waukee as this is fouled off the right side of the screen, and it is 0-2. Bates has given up just 3 hits in the game, has walked 2. To this point, struck out 7. Mentioned she had not given up a run in a couple of appearances earlier this season. As the runner was going, this one was fouled straight down. Lawson stays alive. You're not going to have a clean 0.00 ERA all season long. I've seen some great pitchers in softball over the last decade here in the state of Iowa, and it's just not a realistic expectation. But working in and out of trouble, that is something that you certainly can tell the cream of the crop when you see it, and Bates certainly has that going for her. That one misses 1-2. 2 outs, runner on first base. Not allowing a hit or a walk to affect the mentality, affect the next pitch. But you have to give credit to Roosevelt. Even behind by as many as 10 runs in this game, they are getting their reps at the plate. Seen a lot of pitches. But there's a swing and a miss, and eventually Bates does strike out the side. Second time she's gotten Lawson. 8th strikeout in 4 innings for Ellie Bates. We'll head to the bottom of the 4th inning. It is 10-1. Waukee with the lead over Roosevelt here on CISN.
We might not always know what the day will bring, but some things are certain. The sun will rise, and your lights will go on. That's because at Mid-American Energy, we're obsessively, relentlessly committed to providing you energy when and where you need it, to connecting with you and keeping our communities safe and strong. Because the most important thing we put our energy into is you. We're obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Here's to everyone who believes in competition and good sportsmanship, who knows it's not about the trophies or the medals, but rather the lessons learned. For those who understand, it's not whether you win or lose, just that you give your best. So go ahead, lace them up, take the field, have fun, and play. For the experience, for the memories, for the love of the game. Shields.
Michaela Hannum comes to the plate. She's the one that hit that little loop double. And she's going to loop this one out into right center field, and that'll squirt between the right fielder and center fielder. Lawson will get it back in, but not before Hannum has a leadoff double. 3 at-bats, 3 doubles for Michaela Hannum. One was a hard hit ball in the left center field. One was a little looper. And it would eventually plate 3 runs. And this one, another hard hit ball that a little lower on the trajectory. Going to get a pinch runner for Hannum here. Looks like Ella McGee.
Pinch runner number 6, Ella McGee.
So McGee, an 8th grader, getting an opportunity to run here. This is grounded through the middle, and that'll be a base hit. McGee's going to be told to try to score. Fielded eventually by Lawson. Her throw to second base will come in not in time. A little bit of trouble out there fielding it in center. Give Weiss an RBI, and that puts it back at a 10-run deficit, 11-1. So Macy Weiss, we're going to go single E8 there. McGee would have scored either way. But the Waukee bats really haven't gotten a good look at Grace Ulrich the last couple of innings, and here coming out swinging on the first 2 pitches in this 4th inning. The reason it's important to note, as Ava Smith will pinch hit here for the DH, or the designated player, Claire Fosell. First pitch, well outside. Smith, a freshman, 1 for 8 so far at the plate this season. That's off the outside corner, and 2-0. She's hitting for Claire Fosell, who had an RBI single and a run scored in the first, and then lined out hard to Summer Williams at shortstop in the third. Or pardon, that was back in the second. As it's fouled out of play, 2-1. That 10-run rule comes into effect after next inning. So if Roosevelt does not score, let's just pretend it's 11-1 like it is right now as we head to the top of the 5th. Roosevelt would have to at least score 1 run to keep the game going. If they don't, the game would end there. That ball hammered down the left field, way back, and look out parking lot. Ava Smith, a pinch hit, 2-run home run, and it is now 13-1. That ball absolutely crushed over the left field wall. Julian Williams could just turn around and watch it go. So 2 RBIs for Ava Smith, the pinch hit 2-run bomb, and the 12 runs in effect after 4 innings of play. And that will be the end of game number 1. So the run rule does come into effect here. We'll go ahead and we'll take a break, come back, and give you the final numbers for game number 1 after this. Waukee 13, Roosevelt 1, here on the Central Iowa Sports Network.
Hi, Ron here, head coach of Westside Auto Pros. When your car's on the injured reserve, you want to get it back in the game as soon as possible. I know that. That's why you need to bring it here to Westside Auto Pros. I have a team of experts that can fix almost every automotive injury. Whether it's a fractured joint, a brake, or if your car just got its bell rung, no problem. We can even do a complete physical on your car to make sure it's game ready for the entire season. So bring your car to Westside Auto Pros and we'll get it back in the starting lineup in no time. Hey, you guys are dogging it back here. Let's move it, move it, move it.
You want to get stronger, faster, healthier. You want more. You want to be part of something bigger than yourself. A place for people of all ages, all walks of life, that provides opportunities for all to succeed. We do that. We're the why. Build more than muscle. Build a stronger community.
Central Bank, proud to be a long-standing Iowa tradition. Founded in 1887 in Storm Lake, we've grown over the years from that one location to a bank serving northwest and central Iowa, employing more than 200 people in the region. Being here and being from here, it makes Central Bankers unique in the banking world. Decisions are made here. Investments of our time and resources are made here. For us, banking is still about people. Our reverence for community and hard work speaks to a proud Iowa heritage. Our passion for small business to bold new directions forward for our bank and the Iowans we serve. Thank you for your support of Central Bank. Let's keep it going. Let's plan together. Let's execute for Iowa's small business, agricultural, and individual banking customers. Central Bank is ready to make it happen. Member FDIC.
In a recent spring storm, a freak tornado formed and moved through the north side of Shunkirk Chevy Waukee. Depending on damage, most new vehicles with minor cosmetic imperfections. Affected new Chevys will be sold for thousands below market value, with a limited number of storm-damaged vehicles available. Time is of the essence to take advantage of this opportunity. You get the rebates and discounts. Now take thousands more off storm-damaged vehicles. Limited time savings. Shunkirk Chevy Waukee. WaukeeChevy.com.
Why do I look for the seal? It's about trust. Whether I'm buying a car, hiring a contractor, finding a tax preparer, or an honest mechanic, the Better Business Bureau's seal means this business meets high standards. When I see the seal, I know I'll get what I pay for. No more taking chances and no more worries. And I feel good about supporting local businesses. My life is so much easier knowing I can always trust BBB accredited businesses. It pays to look for the seal. See for yourself at bbb.org/Iowa.
Back here at the final score of game 1, 13-1. A little confusion by my part throughout that game, not quite understanding where we were in terms of run rule, but after 4 innings, 12 runs is the mark, and the 12-run rule was reached on a 2-run home run by freshman Ava Smith. So my apologies on that. Smith with what was a walk-off, and we'll get you the numbers here as Waukee, the 5th-ranked team in Class 5A, moves to 4-0. Roosevelt 0-5 so far this season. Let's go ahead and start with Waukee with a 13-run score on 12 hits, no errors with 2 left on base. It was Roosevelt 1 run, 3 hits on 2 defensive errors, 4 left on base. Ellie Bates gets the win. She's 3-0 so far this season. And Faith Sheets gets the loss in the circle. She's 0-2. Game time just 1 hour and 1 minute. For Roosevelt offensively, Summer Williams was 1 for 2. Zoe Lawson 0 for 2. Riley Jones 0 for 2. Jillian Williams 0 for 2. Faith Sheets went 1 for 1 with a walk, a run scored. Genesis Dotson went 1 for 2 with an RBI. Audrey Humphrey went 0 for 1 with a walk drawn. Ivy Lawson went 0 for 2, and Ada Clark 0 for 1. Faith Sheets, 1/3 of an inning worked in the circle. 6 hits, 9 runs, just 6 earned with 1 walk, no strikeouts, 23 pitches, 15 strikes, and 8 were balls. For the other sophomore that we saw, Grace Ulrich, she pitched pretty all right until that home run in that 4th inning. 6 hits allowed in 2 2/3 innings of work. 4 runs, 3 earned with 1 walk, no strikeouts, 36 pitches thrown, 22 strikes, and 14 balls. For Waukee offensively, Heidi Wheeler was 1 for 2, a run scored, and an RBI. Reagan Bartholomew 1 for 2, a run scored, and an RBI. Natalie Willett went 1 for 2. She scored a run, and then after a walk, her courtesy runner, Bryn Herron, would score a run as well. Michaela Hannum went 3 for 3, 3 doubles, 2 runs scored, with 3 RBIs. She, in fact, actually scored a run, and Ella McGee, in a pinch running role, ended up scoring a second run in that spot. Macy Weiss went 2 for 3, 2 runs scored, and 2 RBIs. Claire Fossell went 1 for 2 with a run scored and an RBI. Ava Smith hit that home run. She went 1 for 1 with the run scored and 2 runs driven in. Ashley Smith went 0 for 1, but she walked and scored a run. Ellie Bates 1 for 2. Kiana Cards, running for her, scored a run. And then Ella Parker in the 9 spot went 1 for 2 with a run scored and an RBI. Ellie Bates, 4 innings of work on the rubber. 3 hits, 1 run. It was earned with no walks, 8 strikeouts, 80 pitches thrown, 49 strikes, and 31 were balls. We'll step aside. We'll come back probably in about 15, 20 minutes. I know they're probably going to want to get this second game going as quickly as possible, and we'll bring it to you right here. After this, it is high school softball. Waukee victorious 13-1 over Roosevelt in Game 1 right here on the Central Iowa Sports Network.